The attorney representing the man accused of shooting 34-year-old Asia Davis says the suspect is not fit to stand trial. Police say Davis is a transgender woman who was shot and killed on Woodward last June.
18-year-old Carlos Scotland was charged with killing Davis last month. State police say Scotland is the person seen leaving the Woodward Inn the night Davis was killed.
At today's preliminary hearing, the judge ordered a mental competency exam for Scotland. Trans advocate Julissa Abad says the delay in court is unfortunate, but the community will keep fighting for justice.
I'm going to be at every court date, so the next one is set for July. I'm going to make sure that community comes as well. Sometimes, particularly when it comes to trans women of color, they are looked at as throwaways or not loved, and she had family and people that loved her and supported her, so I'm going to make sure that we show that during this whole process until she gets justice.
Davis's family says she had just finished nursing school and was ready to start her new job. If convicted, Scotland could spend life behind bars.
So joining us live with reaction to this case is Nzere Kwabena, Executive Director of LGBT Detroit, and Troy Kennedy, a board member of LGBT Detroit. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
So as we continue to look into this case, there is a lot of frustration. How are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling really sad. My heart and prayers go to the Davis family. This is a tragic loss. It's devastating for all who've known her, family and friends, and so the first concern is the well-being of the family.
Yeah, we just heard Julissa Abad say there that trans lives are often just seen as throwaways. Explain that. Why do people feel that way?
Well, unfortunately, in the society that we're in today, in the political climate, we're seeing a lot of just hate and one side of the aisle literally making this a wedge issue when it truly is not. All lives do matter, but trans lives matter. Black trans women have been at the forefront of violence and nobody is addressing it. And it's a shame that this young man went that route, but he has to be held accountable. You can't continue to allow people to say that I'm crazy or to use those excuses, because there has to be accountability.
Can you talk about some of the work that's being done to change that narrative?
Well, some of the work that we are doing is there are a lot of men who do date trans women, but most of them do it in shame, in secret, in the shadows. What we're doing is trying to get those men to step up, because if you continue to hide, what you're doing, you're adding to the stigma, you're adding to the ostracization, and you're adding to a lot of the problems that are having. And most of these men don't have an outlet, and so they turn to violence, and violence is not an answer.
Can you talk about the specific and extra threat that Black trans women face?
It is really incredible when we talk about disparities, and so there are a number of health disparities, mental health, physical health, and so for those who struggle with expression, there's very few places where they can safely express themselves. And of course, when it comes to meeting people perhaps intimately, to be free to share who they are could take some time. And during that time, there's probably a crisis, a quiet crisis happening. And so, you know, everyone wants to be accepted, everyone wants to be loved, but unfortunately, those who don't understand who they are and can't really comprehend the many facets of what LGBT culture is, they choose sometimes the wrong path. What Troy has done, I'm very proud of. He's assembled a number of people that can help lessen and reduce this gap where violence occurs. Create spaces where men, particularly those who love trans women intimately and socially, can express what that love is. And so by having internal conversations, those internal conversations become external conversations that allow others to know what it is and how it is to love.
Have you been in touch with the victim's family at all, and what has that process been like?
We haven't had the opportunity to talk to David's family, but Troy did a fantastic job celebrating another young lady by intimately and amazingly working with the family to celebrate their life. And I'll let Troy talk about that great work he did with that family.
A young woman named Haven was also brutally murdered a few years ago, and the family came to us to hold a vigil for their daughter and to bring awareness that, again, this violence has to stop. And unfortunately, the violence that happens from Black men who look like me. And so what we want to do is step up and stand next to these trans women and say, we got you, and we're here for you, and we're going to continue to fight for you.
And what was really wonderful is that the family did reach us. They sought LGBT Detroit as a resource, and we've gathered our staff, our volunteers. Troy led this remarkable effort, and we recognized in broad daylight, right in her neighborhood, her light And it was a very emotional time, and it's something that we're willing to do if any family asks us for that moment so that no one lives in shame or in fear.
Yeah. Trans rights have really entered the conversation in a big way, especially in recent years. Is there anything that gives you hope that we are headed in the right direction?
Well, the state of Michigan, you know, with Gretchen Whitmer and the things that they have done to codify not only LGBT rights, trans rights, and abortion rights, we have to be progressive. We cannot continue to step backwards. And one side of the aisle is literally having us step backwards, and we cannot allow that. Everyone must get out there, everyone must vote, and we must stand up for each other.
And what sorts of changes would you like to see in the immediate future and also in the long term?
I haven't thought about the immediate future. I would like space to be created where all are welcomed safely. There's immediate actions, and the LGBT Detroit has done that by expanding spaces. One of our big identities is curating safe break spaces. And we do that primarily on the west side of Detroit, but at other spaces around Detroit, that's where that occurs.
Did you have a thought on immediate or farther term?
Just continuing to stand up and to allow men a space to be open, to be free, and to have those conversations with each other. Because the biggest problem is that they feel that they're alone and they have no peers. There's a lot of men out there who do love trans women. Most of them do it in shame, most of them do it in secret. But it also includes fathers, brothers, cousins, and family. We want that space open so they can understand that we are there as well.
And lastly, how can people get in touch with the organization or support your cause?
You can always get in touch with us at our handle, LGBT Detroit. We welcome all kind of gifts. Our mission really weighs on the generosity of the public. And so our programs are free. There are no financial barrier. And so your treasures are welcome at LGBT Detroit. All social media platforms. Our website is www.lgbtdetroit, and we just welcome you.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being here today and for all you're doing in the community.
Thank you for having us.
Appreciate your time.